Anyways, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back,
and you still doing this
better
this sunglasses thing.
You know, Ray Charles in this bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Cause I
it looks clean. You know what I'm saying?
But look, I looked at the episode where I was wearing sunglasses the entire episode, and I thought about like how pretentious I look. I was like, you look like a douche, right? I was like, you look really douchey. Just to have sunglasses on inside for no reason, I was like, you look really
it'd be better if we both wore ours. How about that?
I'm not wearing my sunglasses.
I think that's cool because you can't see my eyes. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool. You know what I mean? All right. Anyways, welcome back to Unpack Your Bag Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We are your hosts, Tony Perk, Chantal, a.k.a. Shantizzy. Don't call her that. Or just don't call her that.
Then quit putting a.k.a. Shantizzy behind my name. That's not no
people
a.k.a.
People are really calling you, hey, what's up, Shantizzy, on the internet.
That's not, I'm not also known as that. So
only in this space of me and her. We're going to debate this forever. So today, guys, we're going to be talking about this Olympic runner who just tested positive for weed. And she is apparently banned, or she's suspended for 30 days, I believe.
Yes.
What's her name? Starts with a. What's her name? Well, we know.
I think her name is Sha'carri.
Sha'carri Richardson.
Okay. Yeah,
Sha'carri Richardson, if that's her name. If I didn't say it correctly, excuse me. So apparently, she is getting suspended for 30 days from the Olympics due to testing positive for smoking weed. Okay. And she also went on to have a press run about it, and she said,
it's Sha'carri.
Oh, Sha'carri. Sorry, Sha'carri Richardson. And she had stated in one of her press release conferences that the reason why she ended up smoking was because, or taking some kind of marijuana or THC was because her mother had passed away. Mm-hmm. And I guess her grandmother was like the one who took care of her, but she had like a relationship with her mother, and she passed away, and she didn't find out until like in the middle of an interview that her mother had died. And that kind of led her down to like some kind of spiraling depression to some degree. And, she used that to cope with everything, blah, blah. And then she came back and tested positive, which revoked her from starting into the next Olympics. It's going to be in like 30 days. It's like 3 days shy of where she's supposed to be.
So I don't know if it means that she can't compete at all. I just think it means that she can't continue to qualify for races. So
one of the races she can't do right now.
Yeah,
she's gonna miss one. Yeah,
so she can't qualify. I think for her best event, which I think this is her best event to be able to compete in the Olympics. So all right now, everybody is doing the trials. You're running right now to get your times and whatever, so that you can qualify to compete. Mm-hmm. She did the reason why we know her is because she just recently won this race, right? Yep. And bust onto national scenes because people didn't like her hair and her nails,
which was weird to me.
Which I think is stupid.
I mean, I don't care. You're an athlete. You're there to perform.
I think is stupid.
I can care if you have a shaved head or a mohawk. I can care less. You did your thing. That's it.
I think it's stupid. So I think she will be able to compete in the Olympics for that event. Okay. Don't quote me, but I think she can't qualify depending on what the council decides to do. Now,
so what do you want to go first or me?
I mean, look.
Let's rock, paper, scissors for this one.
Look, I'll go first. All
right.
This is what I think. And I know a lot of people, and there have already been some people who are like, I don't care. People immediately when she tested positive for marijuana, everybody's like, well, weed don't help you run faster. Why is weed a banned substance? Blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. This is racist. Blah, blah, blah. Right?
Okay.
And my first thought is, weed has been a banned substance for a very long time. Okay? This is not a new occurrence.
And it's still federally banned.
If you know that you're not supposed to be smoking weed, don't smoke weed. If you're 30 days from the Olympics or however long you are from, joining the Olympics, your life is about to fundamentally change, especially if you go to the Olympics and do well. Mm-hmm. Okay? You're about to secure a bag that you've never had in your life. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
So, to that point, if you know you're not supposed to be smoking, don't be smoking. Why would you let weed come between you and a bag? Like, seriously, you just messed up your own money. Now, I don't know what it's like to lose a parent. I will probably be deeply devastated. Mm-hmm. However, I can't say that I would be devastated to the point where I would sabotage myself in this way.
Yeah.
I don't know because I've never lost a parent, so I don't want to hypothesize about that. Especially a parent, like, this would be the equivalent to, like, me losing my dad, who I wasn't raised around. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Because I wish, okay, I can speak on that because I did lose my dad, and we weren't really that close, but there is like it's kind of like I'm never going to have the opportunity. Now it's over for sure. Like, it's not like we can maybe rekindle this. It's like this is definite done forever. So it is kind of it's a big deal. Like, losing a parent, whether you're not close or not, in my opinion, is a big deal. Mm-hmm. But I do agree with you in the fact that I wouldn't sabotage my career. Now, I do understand that it is a traumatic experience losing a parent, especially you're in the middle of an interview and you're getting news from the reporter that your parent is gone. Right. It's kind of like a shock. Mm-hmm. And then all the emotions that come with that, whatever their relationship was like, whatever. I don't know the dynamics of that. But I do agree that I wouldn't, whoever was around her to allow her to do this, she should have had better people around her to remind her of what she's able to risk. And I even did research because people were saying it's racist and all this stuff. And went back to Michael Phelps, because Michael Phelps, Olympic swimmer, who this was back when everything was still more illegal. Right. And I was looking at what happened, and he actually got like banned. He got banned from competing in the Olympics, and he lost all sponsorships and everything. Mm-hmm. So when I'm looking at her, and she did, but the thing is, he didn't test positive. He was just caught on pictures smoking weed. He didn't necessarily test positive, but he got all these things. But then she tested positive, but it's only 30-day ban. So I don't really see it as being racist, because at the end of the day, the NADA. Those rules were set there a long time ago, so it wasn't like you didn't know. Right. It wasn't like nobody was aware that you couldn't smoke weed. Right. So it's not like you can't just be like, well, I smoke weed and now it's racist because it's happened to this black person. It's like, and here's the thing. It's like she, as an Olympian and a competitor, and as she's been doing this for so many years, you know what you can put in your body and what you can't. You're about to change your life. Like, you're literally about to change your life. And then people are talking to me about a few things. The first one is like, well, you know that athletes don't get paid to participate in the Olympics. You're absolutely right. The Olympics is meant to be an amateur competition, so nobody gets paid for it. Mm-hmm. However, the endorsements that you receive as a result of the exposure is the bag that will change your life. Is where the money comes in. That's the first thing. And especially if you go in there and do well. And especially her, because she stood out so much by her hair and her nails, whatever, quote unquote. Like, you already are like, boom, someone's gonna look at you for sure. I'm really happy that her Nike sponsor didn't drop her, because that would have been too much. But here's what I think is, I'm not saying that the Olympics as an institution isn't racist. I think there are some racist components, right? I don't think there's anything in the world that can exist as long as this has without a little bit of racist components, right? Because of where we live, right? So do I think this particular instance is racist? No. Do I think that the Olympics and sporting institutions in general need to lax their stance on weed? Absolutely. Yeah. Is it ridiculous that she can't run because she had marijuana in her system? Absolutely. All of that stuff is retarded, right? Mm-hmm. Because to me, weed and alcohol, same thing, right? Same level. Yeah. It's social. It's social. So the point that I'm making is, yes, all of that stuff is messed up. It's super messed up. It's super messed up. It's not a performing enhancing drug. It's super messed up, right? We can make all the comparisons, right? Mm-hmm. I read something that said, so in women's sports, you can have a penis, but you can't smoke weed. Okay. And thank you. I started dying. But listen, I'm not arguing any of these points. Gosh. All of this stuff is messed up. However, bruh, dude, like, come on, man. This is one of those instances where you're going to have eyes on you, especially because you're competing in the Olympics. You're going to have eyes on you. You're going to be in the spotlight a little bit. There's certain things when you're in that position you can't do because of the way that they will be held against you. Yeah, because you have a reputation. Your stakes are higher. Yeah. And as sad as that is, as unfortunate as that is, your stakes are higher. That's just reality of what it is. That's just the reality of what it is. Your stakes are higher. And you're under the microscope more than the average person. So you have to hold yourself up to those stakes if
you want to compete on this stage, if you want an opportunity to compete on this stage, right?
Right.
Not in just the fact that you're young too. She's young, so if she goes and does well, like she could be potentially competing in another Olympics 4 years from now, barring injury and anything like that. Like
she can get on a Wheaties box at this point. She has the potential to be on like the Wheaties box,
she
like you know what I mean, like that real like poster. Sponsor, like
she could
mega,
be among the greats of track and field. You know what I mean? Like the Sonya Richards-Rosses, the Allison Felixes. She has an opportunity to really solidify herself, and we took you out. Like think about that for a second.
I'm not.
We took you out.
I agree.
We took you out.
I'm like
we took you out.
I get it. I'm like I feel you. I'm like to me personally, I wouldn't care if you smoke weed. To me, I'm like. Because in my head, it's not enhancing your physical abilities to do that. If anything, it hinders you physically. So it's not like, you know, you can get more strength.
I don't think it hinders you, but go ahead.
I feel like, well, at least every time I've ever discussed it, it's always like more of like a sluggish, slow thing. Makes you more relaxed.
She's not going to smoke before a race, but like, I'm sure, you know.
Like, it's definitely not going to make you perform like, like, it's not like you are on like Adderall or Speedway.
It doesn't affect your performance.
You know? So that's why I feel I think it's kind of ridiculous that, you know, weed could potentially end your whole career. But at the same time, you know what you're signing up for going into the Olympics. You know, it's like you've been training for how many years
to get here.
Why is it worth it to mess up, especially when it's like, you know, they're going to be testing you.
Why is it worth it?
Like, I understand that this traumatic experience happened, and I get that, and I empathize.
Right.
At the same time, is it worth it to lose your career? To potentially lose your career, or to potentially not qualify in a certain race would have put you on the map, and therefore you have to compete in the next 4 to 5 years, which you'll be 4 or 5 years older, which means maybe you may not be as young. I mean, you could have more strength, but you would have had a better opportunity if you didn't do this. So, I mean, that's what I think. But, you know, when you're in grief, you're not thinking as clearly. You know, maybe she didn't have the right people around her. Maybe there was somebody, you know, who'd help influence her with this. We don't know, but... You know, the reality is, like, you're responsible for what you do.
You're responsible for what you do. You know? You're responsible for what you knew. You knew.
It's not like you didn't know.
Did you know weed was a banned substance before you took it? Because I personally, I see how it is, but I never thought that deep into it. Because for me, personally, weed is not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? Go see somebody else. But federally...
Because now it's legal almost everywhere, but except federally.
But federally, it's still a Schedule I controlled substance, right? So it's on the list with heroin, which I think is strange.
Crazy, but...
but whatever.
Like
we're
a natural plant.
We're not here to debate the politics of it, right? Like she will feel justified if you allow yourself to get lost in the rhetoric debating the politics of it, right? Because the politics of it, this is wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that deep. Weed is not that deep.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not banning people for going out and smoking, you know what I mean, and drinking all night. You know what I mean? If somebody wants to come in hungover and run a race, that's their business that you're not included in, right? So I think weed should be handled.
Like, shoot, go get drunk, y'all. I'm gonna beat y'all.
Weed should be handled the same way, especially because these are athletes who are at the pinnacle, you know what I mean, at the top of their game physically. And they don't want to do anything anything themselves to tarnish that, you know what I mean? Or to come against that. So if you allow yourself to get lost in the political rhetoric behind this, like, oh, it's wrong and the blah, blah, blahs behind it, you knew you shouldn't have done it.
That's the thing.
That's the bottom line. You knew you shouldn't have done it. And I bet you if you ask her, like, is it worth it?
She would probably be like, no.
Like, you knew you shouldn't have done it. Girl, you knew. Why would you let this stop you from getting your money?
Yeah. I mean, I understand, like, people, when they grieve, they don't, you're not thinking as clearly, but that's why you needed somebody who is a rational head behind you. Like, hey, don't do this. Like, you have too much to lose. I know I understand you're going through this, but you have way too much to lose.
Way too much to lose.
You know, so maybe she didn't have somebody in her corner that was like, you know, or maybe, I don't know if this is a lone thing. I mean, there's so many things to speculate from. And it's hard, but I agree in the fact of, I don't think it's that big of a deal to me personally. I don't think you should be banned for it. It doesn't really enhance your abilities in that way. So my stance is, like, I think it's stupid, but also she's stupid for not taking what she can do seriously. Like, it's her fault at the end of the day. I'm not saying she's stupid, but it's her fault. It's her fault, and that's it.
If we had to do a random poll of, like, people in regular jobs, like teachers or like bankers or nurses, police officers, you know what I mean? Maybe not police officers because they have to get drug tested.
Yeah, they get randomly too.
The rest of us, right, who are in a sector of society that don't have to get drug tested, like randomly drug tested, if for whatever reason, like a sweeping policy came through the hospitals or the schools for the teachers or, you know what I'm saying, the bankers or, you know what I'm saying, the real estate agents, you know what I'm saying? If there was like a poll that came through and it was like everybody had to get randomly drug tested, and if you found anything in your system you will lose your job. Let me just say this on record, I feel like it's 50-50, like 60. It's probably higher than that.
70%
it's probably like 60-40, 70-30. 70% of their people is losing their job today.
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying?
For sure, 100%.
That's the first thing. Now, people have been figuring out a way to defeat P-tests for years.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Like, people have been figuring out how to defeat P-tests for years. And I want to know, I want to know how this whole drug thing went down, right? Like, how the testing went down. Do they call you and tell you, hey, come on? Do they just knock on your door one day and say, fill up the cup? Because if there's an inkling that you might pee dirty, like just a small inkling that you might pee dirty, I know at least 3, 4, 5 people right now today at this moment that could potentially come over and help me beat this pee test.
Yeah, for sure.
You understand what I'm saying?
For sure.
So let me say that Olympic athlete. I don't know how they testing people. I don't know what the protocol is, but you may strike me as the kind of person who may know 3, 4, 5 people who can help you defeat this pee test.
At this level,
you can't be brought down by no pee test, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? You know how many people is out here getting jobs?
I agree with you on this. I agree with the fact that I think that majority of people will lose their jobs.
8 today.
I've heard so many stories. I mean, across the board.
Especially if it's random. Like, if it's random, people come knocking on the door. All right, come fill this up now today. But if you got a couple hours,
you know what's funny? It's funny because the quick story time when I was younger.
If you got a couple hours,
as a kid, my teachers were always there. Like, this is in elementary school. And I remember I went to class early one day, and I think it was in 5th grade. And I walked in the class, and my teacher was like drinking Pepto-Bismol at the bottle, and I'm like, oh shit! Like, I didn't say oh shit, but I was like, hey, so and so. And then she was like, oh yeah, no, oh don't worry, like, oh I like the taste of this. It's just a good drink to me, and like drank it, And I'm like, okay, she must like just Pepto-Bismol. That's weird.
Nobody likes
my whole naive self was like, yeah. I grew up later, I'm growing up, and then I'm at a party. This is like
you
26.
Realize she was hungover,
and I'm like thinking I'm watching these people who I know are teachers like getting fucked up, and I'm like, oh, they're just like teachers are normal people just like us. They're not like impervious. Not these perfect cool people. They're just regular ass people who party hard on the weekend, possibly do drugs and all this other crazy stuff.
Do drugs,
and just go back to work the next day. Like, and I was like, and that moment dawned on me like, oh, I remember my teacher. I'm like, oh, she was probably just hung over from partying the night before.
As somebody who works with students, I could tell you that like 90% of students think that their teacher goes to school. And then when they leave school, they go into a closet. Right? They live their life in a closet.
There's no
life.
You know what
I'm saying? And then they come out of the closet to teach them.
Yeah.
Right? And then when that is over, they go back in the closet. Right? I would say like the majority of students act like that. Like, you don't have nothing else to do, but
you just go home, grade papers,
I
and go
am
to
your
sleep.
priority, right? And you're like, oh, that's so cute. That's cute that you think that. She's serious.
That's so funny.
Yo, seriously, I think there was ways that you got whole like chemists when it comes to like BS and drug tests. Like,
there's a lot of ways.
Like,
there's fake pee.
People who
like you can just get fake pee, put it between your thighs, and walk into the doctor's office. But I wonder if they make you pee in front of them.
So many things. I don't know what the protocol is like.
I feel like
it's got to be something deep though.
For something like that, I feel like you have to pee in front of them. Like someone has to sit there and watch you pee, like pull out your junk and like sit there and you gotta see the stream. I feel like it's that deep because I don't know. To me, I feel like it'd be really hard to BS because there's so many parameters around how you test in the Olympics. Like
it would have to be.
So I think it has to be something like super deep. But even knowing that,
It'll have to be.
That would even make me more reason not to do anything.
Right, because I can't potentially fake this pee test.
Like, I heard people that, like, they're pothead and they're like, I'm going to stop smoking weed for 30 days so I can get this job real quick.
Yep.
And they just cold turkey. Yep. I'm like, hey, when you have a goal, you'll stop. Like, you know what I mean?
Several times.
And this is for way less money. This is for way less opportunity.
This is for $15 an hour. So then, like, imagine once they pass probation, they lighten up again.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because once you
Exactly.
that's the stupidest thing in the world. They will drug test you to get the job, but they don't drug test you to keep the job.
Yeah, I know.
That is the dumbest stuff in the world. Like, that is so stupid. That is so dumb to me.
Don't ruin all the people out there, Chantal.
That is so dumb to me. And then they're drug tested. And here's the thing: the most of the sectors that I mentioned don't drug test at all.
Yeah.
Right. But like, they'll drug test the dude who works at Home Depot. I don't care if the dude.
Why?
Exactly.
Why does it matter if he's hired?
I don't care if the dude at Home Depot smokes weed. Like, I don't care about that. I don't care about the Walmart employees that smoke weed. Like,
gosh.
You know what I'm saying? People who get on, like, people who work in like construction and fishing charters and shit like that. I don't care if they high.
Yeah, it don't matter to me.
Maybe a construction worker,
like
though. Maybe a construction worker.
Yeah, you want to hit
maybe a construction worker, but like
I'm seeing dragons in the sky for some reason. You're like, you don't want that too crazy. But
it's certain people that you're like that get drug tested, and you're like, I don't care if they smoke.
What's that movie? Was it with Denzel Washington? Flight. Was he the one that was like he was like on cocaine or something like that?
Yeah.
But he like saved everybody from dying, and then they still tried to like get him. It's like, bro, if I wasn't high, I couldn't have done what I did.
You're like, if I wasn't high, we wouldn't have made it. So thank you. Right, but
it's like you're going to jail because you're high. Like, I didn't say, like, no one could do this. Nobody.
And then they start drug testing you when stuff goes wrong, and you're like, y'all didn't notice nothing was off with this
like,
dude.
There was no red flag before this. Like,
no red flag
at all. Like, you mean to tell me this guy secretly was doing drugs this whole time? You had no inkling.
So let me get this straight. Sha'carri can't run track, but people is landing whole planes high as a kite. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just some stuff is stupid. Like the dude they drug testing the dude at Home Depot.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all. How about y'all drug test the bankers who can't count?
Be careful. You might upset a lot of people.
I'm sorry. I don't really mean it, but I'm just saying.
You gonna ruin some people like, it was her fault. It came out on this podcast, and it was her. She ruined my life.
Listen.
Her name is Chantal. It's Chantal.
I don't think that, again, I don't think that if you get caught with weed in your system, it's like that big of a deal. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Personally, however, I will venture on to say that y'all drug testing the wrong people.
I agree.
If you did want to drug test somebody, you definitely drug testing the wrong people. Right?
But it is what it is.
Because it's like 60% of the people gonna get fired, and then if you give people a day notice, I would say like 40% of the people gonna get fired. There's 20% of the people that will figure it out.
They'll go get some fake pee or something, or find someone to pee in a bottle.
20% of the people will figure it out. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
I feel like it's a higher demographic. I feel like literally, I would say 80% of people were gonna be fired if they did the same day. I feel like knowing what I know about people I've seen, well, at least what I've seen personally, and I've worked in many fields.
That's a high number.
I know a lot of people who do dabble in a lot of things that are not necessarily legal and don't even know.
A lot of things. Agreed. Agreed. It's not even hard. It's not hard to hide a habit.
Yeah.
It's not hard to hide a habit, especially with the occurrence of like prescription drugs and all of that stuff.
And it's really easy now to get. It's really
people
easy.
Gonna be peeing all kind of stuff. I think right now, honestly, weed is probably the least of our worries.
That's what I'm saying.
Weed is probably the least of our worries.
And I feel like it doesn't like increase the crime. It doesn't make you do anything crazy. Honestly, from what I've been told and experienced, it makes you more just chill. So most people I've seen, they just kind of, so I don't know. Anyways, I think that regarding to her, I think, as much as it sucks, as much as it sucks that, she can't compete in this next race or whatever, I think it's only one or two she's going to miss. But, at the end of the day, it's not like you didn't know. And, you
knew, fam.
When you're in that microscope, you have to play the part. You got to play the game.
They don't want black people to be successful. You know they don't want to. Because like black people dominate track and field for the most part.
Pretty much every physical sport.
Like I'm not gonna go that far, right? But I'm gonna say like for
besides
the
soccer,
most part,
besides soccer and baseball,
melanated individuals dominate track and field.
Well, before we wrap this up, what was the issue with her? I liked her hair. I thought her hair was cool and her nails. Like, I didn't see the big deal.
I don't know, probably because it was orange. She had like a lace front. Like, it wasn't the best lace front I've ever seen, but it was just a lace front, and it was a different color. It was like orange or something.
Maybe why I'm a guy. I don't really, I'm just like, yeah, it looks fine. Like,
I don't care. Did you win?
Like, exactly. That's the kind of stuff I was like, yeah, did you win? Like, all right, for sure. The hair is cool.
That's the kind of stuff I care about.
To me, I'm like, that's different. It's cool. You stand out immediately. Like, eyes will be on you for sure. I mean, to my head, I'm like, strategically, that's smart. Mm-hmm. Like, have red, orange hair with, like, lace front nails, and it's like, who the hell is that? And then on top of you're going to beat somebody? Eyes definitely on you. Like, you can't miss red or orange hair running down the field. Like, you can't miss that.
And then people were just commenting.
I think it's smart.
People were commenting on her appearance, not to mention, like, FloJo, who was a very famous sprinter who passed away. She ran with nails and long hair, too. So it's like...
Everybody finds something to complain.
Come on, man. Leave it alone. But coaching girls, that's just something that they do. Like, they just liked him. And I'd be like, I don't care what you wear as long as we win. Like, you look like a great basketball player right now. Right? Like, looks are deceiving sometimes. Like, you got on all of the flyest basketball gear I've ever seen. You got on the nicest shoes, the brand new shorts. You know what I mean? You got it all on. But it doesn't necessarily translate to game. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
And one thing that's funny, too, about that I noticed is there's this woman I know who was applying for the police academy. Mm-hmm. And she was getting in. And she, you know how, like, they make everyone want to blend in like the army. Like, everyone's kind of the same, you know? Mm-hmm. And so she's going to buy, like, some shirts that she needs for the academy or whatever. And all of a sudden, she comes back with this, like, flowery floral print shirt. And I'm like, why are you trying to stand out? They said blend together. They said, like, don't stand out. And she's like, I want to look cute. I'm like,
you starting off on the wrong.
I can't. Like, stop. This is not what it's about, bro. This is not what it's about. Like,
is you starting off on the wrong foot.
I can't. But yeah, so I think in the day, like, you know, smoking weed, I don't really think it's a big deal, but she knew better. And you know the rules.
If
and,
you know.
If it was worth it, I mean, then more power to you. But, you know, some people don't agree. So it is what it is. I'm not Olympian, so it is what it is. But we're going to wrap up this episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the episode of the Unpack Your Bag Podcast. Go ahead and share this video, like this video, and comment something, okay? I want to hear your thoughts.
Boom.
Your thoughts.
It's over.
Your inner beings and everything in between. No, that sounds weird. Never mind.
Yeah, that does sound a little strange. What you want from the people, man?
I don't. Never mind.
Just watch it. Just watch it and like it and comment.
Share
you know,
that's
it. That's
all
it.
Right, love y'all.
Don't share your inner being on it. I don't want to see that.
Well, I mean, you're real.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that, folks. Just like, comment, and subscribe. That's it. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, what she said. Until next time, guys. We love y'all. Peace, love, and hair grease on the next episode of Unpack Your Bag Podcast. We out here. Sheesh.